Whether it's to increase your profit margins or improve your service, you need to increase your revenue per member. Think about it this way. If inflation causes your operational expenses to rise, it's only normal that your price should rise alongside that. Everything in the world is going up right now, but yet your business may or may not have stayed the same price for the last year, 2 years, 3 years. And if you look back at how much inflation has risen over that time, you're spending more than you've ever spent, but you're making the same. And that doesn't really equate, does it? So how can we increase your pricing, and how can we do it the right way while keeping customers happy, while being open, honest, and transparent? Well, that's what we're going to use today's training for. So let's dive into our approach to do so. So in this approach, we're going to examine how to communicate, how to actually say it to them, what it is that we should say with our membership base and our customers about those changes. Should I apply the changes to everybody? Does everybody need to have a price increase? Maybe, maybe not. What if people cancel their memberships? This is dealing with the fears that most business owners have because they're afraid that like 10 people might leave, 20% might leave, 40% might leave. And we'll address that a little bit later on. But these are some of the common questions that we're going to be answering in this training. So the first one is, how do I communicate? How do you already communicate would be my question. Chances are you do a number of these things already. You communicate in person. You probably have a private Facebook group. You probably do email campaigns or some sort of email updates. And you probably do text or some sort of WhatsApp group as well. Maybe you do all of those. Maybe you even have a Trainerized account that you send group messages into there. Maybe you use a carrier pigeon. I don't know. Okay. But the thing is, you know what you use to communicate with your customers, but you also know that the reason you use multiple different forms of communication is because not everybody uses one singular one. Some people don't have Facebook. That's absolutely fine. You send them an email. Some people don't use email, so they're in Facebook, or you tell them in person. If they don't use any of those, chances are you text them. But the point being that no matter what your membership base use, you are communicating with them in that fashion so that they can hear about this price increase and the reasoning and everything, all the communication. They can hear it directly from the horse's mouth. They can hear it from the person that they trust, the person that they have, they have that know, like, and trust with, that they have a rapport with, and that they understand has their best interests in mind. Okay, so that's how we're going to communicate them. Chances are it's going to be multiple of these so that we can communicate clearly with all of our different members who use different forms of communication. Okay, what should we actually say to them? It depends on what changes you're going to make, of course. But just keeping it simple, I have 6 points that should allow you to explain to them clearly why things are happening, how they're happening, being open, honest, and transparent throughout that. So we're going to start off by giving them a brief overview of the scenario, so the why the price is changing. Okay, maybe as a result of inflation and the cost of maintaining our service, our electricity, our heating, all of our inventory, all of that stuff has gone up by 20%, and we have to match that in order to continue operating at our current size. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the overview of your scenario. But once you do the overview of your scenario and communicate the initial, why the change has to occur, it's important to highlight the benefits that they already receive right now, okay? Remember that this communication, it is also a bit of a sales pitch, because although they know, like, and trust us, we do challenge that know, like, and trust by bringing something out of the blue. So we need to make sure that the communication is really clear. So we're going to highlight the member benefits to them. So their current benefits might be top coaches, top equipment, a flexible booking system, etc., depending on the great things that you offer within your service, the things that differentiate you from the gym down the road and the reason they choose you. Okay, so that's where we're highlighting, here's the benefits you already get. And then, like I mentioned, can be a bit of a sales pitch. So show the further value you're going to be able to add with this increase. Now, there's two thoughts behind this. With showing more value, sometimes a price increase is completely necessary, like completely necessary. It's not that it's for profit. It's not that it's for anything like that. It's simply the business is going to go under if the price increase does not happen. And that might be your overview of the scenario. But in terms of showing further value, all you need to do really, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to be working on our coach CPD and getting better equipment and replacing the rusty whatever with new equipment, it's going to be, we're going to be able to keep our gym open for our community, because if we don't make this change, we're not going to be able to do so. We're not going to be able to keep our current hours on. We're not going to be able to keep our current client base. We're going to have to let coaches go. There's a lot of benefit to being transparent with people, even and almost especially during harder times. So if that is the case, be super transparent with them in terms of showing value in that way. It's like, we still will be able to be here for you because of this increase. If it's a case of you are just trying to increase profit margins and you're trying to offer a better service, then show them that. That's that second kind of thought. It's show them that we want to offer a nutritional service in there as well. We want to be able to give people a 30-minute one-to-one a week. Again, random idea, but the idea stands of showing where you're going to be able to add further value to the people in your community, and by making this small change. Once you've done that, it's providing clarity of the changes that are going to be occurring. So for example, you want to have a timeline. You want to tell them when things exactly are going to be happening, who they're happening to, how they're going to happen, etc. For example, if like it's middle of October right now, if I was to do a price increase now, I would probably give my membership base a number of months notice. So that if I put out notice today, I would be telling them in that communication that from January 1st, the price increase of 20%, okay, will occur for all current members, if that's the way I wanted to go. Again, should apply to everybody. We'll get to that next. But let's say that'll apply from January on, okay? Prices will not change until that point, but for new customers, that will apply from November 1st. So they have 2 more weeks of, if they wanted to bring in more friends, basically bring in more members, yeah? If they have 2 more weeks at the current pricing structure, they can. 1st of November is the close date for that. From November to December 31st, that is just the maintenance period where you can have conversations with everybody, direct conversations if need be, and really just align yourselves so that by that point, chances are most people will be well over the shock of it, or won't even bring a second thought when they see the money go out of their account. Okay, so it's providing clarity around the changes that are occurring going forward. The next point is, once that's done, I always think it's important to align your core values with the standards, okay? So if in your business, you generally will operate somewhere between 3 to kind of 7 core values for your business to operate under, acting as a moral compass. So because of that moral compass, you cannot stand by and, again, let's say a business is almost going under, okay? We'll just use that as an example because in these tough times, that's very high potential. If a business is going under, your core value is to serve others. You won't be able to serve others if you don't have a business running. So part of this could be saying that one of our core values is to serve others. And in recent months, it's become more apparent that as we begin to struggle financially as a company, we may no longer be able to stand or to hold that core value any longer, because we won't be in business. But by aligning your core values with the standards and the service you're trying to offer, people tend to get it more and they tend to understand it because it speaks to self-belief, it speaks to faith, all that sort of thing, which gets people on the same page, which is great. And then just to end any sort of communication, it's always important to leave a happy to chat further at the end of it, okay? And a happy to chat further is a way of saying that, like, I'm not hiding anything. I want to be open, transparent, and clear with each and every single one of you. I'm not speaking to a group, I'm speaking to an individual, and I am willing to sit down with you as an individual to have a conversation because you are important to me as a member and as a customer, and I appreciate you. That's what that says. And it basically, and you will get people taking you up on this, it basically is like an open door. When you see an open door, you're able to walk in and have a conversation with somebody in the room. It's the same sort of scenario. People aren't afraid of having that conversation then. Okay, they know you're open to the conversation, and that's why it's so important. So that would be the framework really of what we would say to our membership base. And again, you can phrase it however you wish. I believe we will have a templated email that you can send out or change, and you might just use that as your template, or as your script for a video that you might put into your Facebook group, as a video you might put into your WhatsApp group, and use the same email sent out to all the members. So that way everybody gets the same clear communication, the same wording, the same clarity of changes occurring, and the same highlighting of member benefits, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. What we're going to jump into next is, should we apply it to everybody? This is always a tricky one. And it really does depend. Oh wait, I think my face is in the way of some of these words. It really does depend on your current business and how that's set up and how long, I suppose, those members have kind of been with you and how you feel about it. But there are two potential options that I would normally think of. So that is apply to all. So everyone is subject to a set increase, or legacy rates. Only new and returning members are subject to an increased rate. So applying to everyone depends on the severity really of the financial pressure you're under. If you're under a lot of pressure or can't maintain what you've already built, that's the honest reason that you give your members. And we've mentioned that earlier. Be honest. If it was the legacy rate is for sure the safe bet. If you're looking to increase profit over time without having to upsell current members, it definitely will give you an increase over allowing for churn percentages, let's say of 5% every month. It would then show you how long it would take for you to get a turnover of enough members and new members coming in at the higher price to get that increased profit margin at a later point. Okay, so that's if we wanted to increase profit margin. So let's dive into a couple of examples of how we would apply these, what they might look like, and try to kind of quench some fears. Okay, so let's use the apply to all. Apply to all. There should be, if there was no issues, if there was absolutely no issues, okay, and geez, I have to go too far now. I'll go back. Okay, there we go. If we applied a 20% increase to all memberships in this scenario, €100 membership, 100 members, 10 grand, simple math, it increases to 120 and nobody has an issue because they know your service is worth it, you make an extra 2 grand. That might allow you to either make more profits or offer a better service, or maybe just stop you from going under. Yeah, again, allowing for that clear communication explains why this has to happen, and depending on why it has to happen, the finances can be used in that direction. Okay, so that's if there's no issues. Let's say we apply to all. 20% cancel. So €100 membership, 100 members, 10 grand. 20% cancel due to an increase. That's 20 people gone out the door because they're like, I can't afford this, or, oh, it's not worth the money. If they say it's not worth the money, you have issues. But it's also worth mentioning that the people that are willing to pay the least tend to give you the biggest headache. They tend to be those people that you don't really mind seeing them go. You're kind of okay with it. Now, obviously, we're getting a $2,000 drop in revenue, and in the short term, that's not what we want. No, but is it going to serve your business a bit better in the long term? Chances are, yeah. So, like, even if we have 20% of people leave, and then we have the $8,000 that's remaining, plus the 20% increase that each of the members. Oh, I've gone a page ahead again. And even if we add the 20% increase for all of those members, okay, again, because we've applied to all, and so the 80 members pay that 20% increase, which gives us 9,600. So now we're only 400 off our previous revenue, and we're serving 80 members probably better than we were serving 100, and it gives us more opportunity to either improve the service or to help grow it. Okay, so there's one. And then if we take on another 20 members at that increased price point of 120, again, we're just using percentage here, but at that 20% increase, that adds another 2,400. So now we're up to 12,000, and we've increased our entire revenue by 2,000 because we've increased the price by 20%, even with a loss of 20% of our client base or 20 customers. We're still not far off based on the price increase, and we have the potential earning revenue more of another 2,000. And again, I base this off 100 members at 100 member capacity. So saying you're at full capacity with €100 membership, just to keep the math simple. But as you can see, that's not that bad. I would be more than happy to lose €400 so that I can provide a better service to the 80 members that are remaining, and weeding out those that didn't want to pay for our service. I didn't think it was worth the value, because, well, chances are your business is worth it. So no issue there. But let's say it gets worse again. Let's say 40%. It's €100 membership, 100 members, 100 member capacity, 10,000, 40% cancelled due to increase. That brings us to 6,000. Okay. If 40% of our people leave, that's 40 people leave our business. Well, chances are there's something that you need to fix in your business anyway, aside from that, or you've just gone way, way too high in terms of increasing your membership percentage. And normally I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do a massive increase. Figure out the numbers and make the appropriate percentage change. But 6,000 plus the 20% increase for the current 60 members that are remaining brings up to 7,200. Okay, so 7,200, 60 members. If all members come in, yes, it's going to take you a little bit longer to earn back those new 40 members at that new price point. But again, you have an extra 2,000 additional revenue potential, and you've gotten rid of the members who don't think you're worth the money. So chances are you're probably going to be in a better position. Short term, yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to cause a little bit of pressure and financial strain. But in this scenario, if we plan ahead for it and make our percentage increase based off what our actual need is, then it should be fine. The other option is a legacy rate. Okay. Now, a legacy rate, again, there's a number of ways to do this, but I think this is the most simple. So I've only given one option for it, really. So legacy rate, again, same scenario, €100 membership, 100 members, 10,000. In this case, we are going to say that they all remain at that rate. Okay. All current members at this point remain at €100. They remain at €100, while all new or returning customers, if somebody cancels and comes back, all of those new customers come in at 139. Okay, so that's a 39% increase. Now we're going to assume for 5% churn per month, with 50% of our members staying consistent. Okay, so 50% of our member base, they're never going nowhere, right? And that tends to be a lot of the case anyway. So 50% of our members are going nowhere. We have 5% churn. That gives us about 10 months, assuming the 5% rotate every single month. Hopefully our churn isn't that high, but it can be up to 9 at times, or higher. Hopefully not though. But let's say 10 months to rotate those remaining, the remainder of that client base. Okay, so if we give ourselves a year, let's say, we would then have another €1,950 of an increase in monthly recurring revenue, which brings you an additional 23,400 per annum. And that is all from making a small change to your new customers coming in without having touched your older membership base. So that's enough of a salary to pay off a new staff member, or make some good changes to the gym, or simply to increase your profit margin. As you can see, there's a number of different options that we've spoken through. But the one thing I do want to finish on is that the fear holds business owners back. But what will happen if you don't make that change? Will your business go under? Will you become more and more unhappy with how the business is currently running and the profits you're making from it? Will you have to let staff go? What way are you or the business going to suffer if you don't make these changes, or if you don't at least consider them? Again, hopefully you found this training helpful, and if you want any more information, you can always reach out to me at shane@legitfit.com.